Good morning and welcome to the Barham High School 2020 ANZAC Commemorative Service. I would like to acknowledge that Barham High School meets on the homelands of the Barapa people, who are the traditional custodians of this land. I pay respect to elders both past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to other Aboriginal people who may be viewing this video today. ANZAC Day is a day Australians come together to remember, but today we can only come together in spirit rather than in person. We can all keep the ANZAC spirit alive by viewing this video in our homes and being safe. Barham High School has provided this online commemorative service to our school community to remember that Australians and New Zealanders who have paid the ultimate sacrifice across numerous wars.
On the morning of April 25th, 1915, Australian and New Zealand troops landed under fire at Gallipoli, and it was then in the violent campaign which followed that the ANZAC tradition was forged. The elements of this tradition have inspired and offered an enduring example for future generations of Australians. Each year we pay homage to not only those original ANZACs, but to all that have died or were disabled during their service to this country. They enrich our nation's history. Their hope was for the freedom of mankind, and we remember with pride their courage, passion and comradeship. They served on land, in sea and in the air in many places throughout the world.
Not only do we honour the memory of those Australians who have fallen in battle, we share the sorrow of those who have mourned them and of all who have been victims of armed conflict. On this day, we remember with sympathy those Australians who have suffered as prisoners of war, and those who, because of war, have had their lives shortened or handicapped. We recall staunch friends and allies, and especially those of the first ANZAC Day. May we and our successors prove worthy of their sacrifice. From the history of events that took place on April 25th to today's worldwide commemorations, here is the story of ANZAC Day.
The term ANZAC stands for Australian and New Zealand Army Corps. The group of soldiers were formed in Egypt in 1914. They were commanded by General William Birdwood and comprised of the troops from the 1st Australian Imperial Force and the 1st New Zealand Expeditionary Force. ANZACs were most well known for their operation in the Battle of Gallipoli in 1915, but briefly re-established in 1941, serving in the Battle of Greece during the Second World War.
The Gallipoli Campaign. On April 25th, the ANZACs joined the British Empire and the French troops at Gallipoli, Turkey, landing at what is known as ANZAC Cove. As a part of their plan to capture the Gallipoli Peninsula and open the Dardanelles to the Allied navies, the troops set out to capture Constantinople, the capital of the Ottoman Empire, which is known as Istanbul. Upon arrival, the ANZACs were met with the Ottoman French defenders and faced a challenging battle in the subsequent 8 months.
By the end of 1915, the military objectives were not successfully met, and more than 8,000 Australian soldiers had been killed. While the 8th-month campaign resulted in tragedy and the troops failed to capture the Gallipoli Peninsula, the sacrifices the ANZACs made left a profound effect on those back home and became a source of national pride for Australia and New Zealand.
The ANZAC legend soon formed a significant part of both countries' identities, and in 1916, the first commemorations were held on April 25th, with several ceremonies across Australia, a sports day in the Australian camp in Egypt, and a march attended by 2,000 Australian and New Zealand troops in London. Patriotic events continued to be held on April 25th throughout the following years, and during the 1920s, ANZAC Day was established as a public holiday in Australia. By 1927, every state held a form of commemoration. In the 1930s, dawn vigils, memorial services, and games of two-up became annual traditions to honour the ANZACs, many of which continue to play an important role in modern-day commemorations. In later years, April 25th evolved as a day to recognise the Australians and New Zealanders who died in the Second World War, and since 1942, ANZAC Day has been honoured at the Australian War Memorial.
The ode comes from the poem For the Fallen. The poem was written by the English poet and writer Lawrence Binyon. It was published in 1914 in London within the Winnowing Fan, Poems of the Great War. This verse became the ode for Returned and Services League and has been associated with commemorative services in Australia since 1921.
Went with songs to the battle. They were young, straight of limb, true of eye, steady and aglow. They were staunch to the end against odds uncounted. They fell with their faces to the foe.
They shall not grow old, as we are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning we will remember them. Lest we forget.
Thank you.